Hello everyone! In my previous videos I've spoken about this magical place where I got to live and the information that I received inside it, relevant to what we are living today. In this video I'm going to talk about the prayer that I was taught in this same place during that same time. This, you might remember, is a simplified diagram of the place. What I've added here is the mandala. This mandala was made with crystals marking determined positions. At the time when I was having my first experiences here, I was pointed out that the amount of positions match exactly the amount of beads in a Catholic rosary. I was guided to pray it in there, stepping into each position as a bead. With time, I was given specific instructions to place names of God on these same positions. First, the 42-letter name of God, which I've talked about already, was placed at this spot over here. I was then instructed to place the 99 names of God that Islamic traditions pray with, placing them in a specific order on each position, going round and back. These are 99 aspects of the divine within us, used to pray and meditate with. Lastly, the 72 names of God in Hebrew were also positioned. This is a set of 72 names, each made of 3 Hebrew letters that Kabbalists work with. All of these names were positioned in their given order. I was given the starting position, and from there, they were placed one by one, back and forth, in their natural order. This process created a prayer that weaves threads from these 3 traditions into one single prayer. Each bead of the rosary, or each position of the mandala, has a Christian prayer, a set of names of God, some in Arabic, some in Hebrew, some in both. There is a scanning of the Zohar in the middle. This woven prayer creates a very powerful cycle of invocations. It becomes very clear that both the process of the prayer and the trinities of which I've talked about underline the shared root of Abrahamic religions, somehow evoking a meeting point or creating an intertwining. As far as I understand, the vibration of this prayer and of this whole system that they're giving here gathers from the true sparks of each one of these lineages and weaves them into one harmonious whole. The followers and descendants of these 3 Abrahamic paths amount to more than half of the world population today, and as we clearly know, a large portion of them is fixed in a fight over who's right and who's wrong, and remain unable to recognize that which is true in each other's path. This prayer, and apparently this whole system that they're giving us here, underlines the opposite. It works on the energy of a united family, of a united whole. Once this process was completed, they told me to look at the center. The name of this energy center in the Tree of Life is Tiferet. It is normally translated as beauty, and it is the point of harmony of the tree, the harmonious combination of opposites. So let's look closely at this inner circle of the mandala. Here we are looking closer at the central circle of the mandala. You can clearly see how each position has a set of names. Now, if you'll remember, in the previous videos I explained a bit about gematria and the values of each letter in the Hebrew alphabet. The instructions I received here was to follow the gematria value for each of the 3-letter names and to take the ordinal value in the 99 names in order to calculate the value for each point of the mandala. The first instruction was to add the vertical axis here. Now, if you add each one of the letters of these names plus the ordinal values of these 2 points above and below, we have the result of 1081. That is these 2 points here. Now this number is the same number as the gematria of the word Tiferet, which is exactly this center that these points are circling. Then they said, look at the horizontal axis of the cross. So if we add these values, the value of each letter here, plus the ordinal values of the names on this axis, the value is 386, which is the value of the name of Yeshua, that is Jesus in Hebrew. Adding the values of this cross here, this adds to 1,800. This number makes a direct reference to the celestial city that Ezekiel speaks of, which has a circumference of 18,000 cubits. And for those of you who are into sacred numbers, this center here on its own has a value of 121, which is equal to 11 times 11. Now this is interesting because in the New Jerusalem numbers that we saw before, 961 equals the 11th prime number times the 11th prime number. In my next video, I will be sharing the prayer in itself. There are a few things I'd like to say about it. Firstly, if you are a native speaker of any of the languages that are included in the prayer, you'll just have to excuse my pronunciation. I do my best. Secondly, well, I know that considering our history as humanity, traditional forms of prayer are challenging to many because they remind of the pain we have caused each other and of everything that is wrong with religions. This is an invitation to use these codes in a new way. We are really writing a new book. The whole prayer lasts about 45 minutes. You can use it in the same way you would listen to a mantra, closing your eyes and allowing the vibration of the names and the invocations work through you. If you feel like it, you can also follow it by downloading the prayer booklet from my webpage. The most important thing is the place from where we utter these words. The way I've been taught to do this is focusing in my heart and connecting to the feeling of love as I speak each one of the names, as if I was whispering into the ear of my beloved. With these words, we are invoking divine vibrations within and without. We are creating a current of peace, and the place from when we are speaking is a key. We can also focus on a situation that is requiring unifying energy and imagine that these words are like rays that permeate light into that situation that you're looking at. The main elements of the prayer are the Lord's Prayer, which is spoken in Aramaic. If you would like to go deeper into this, there is a book called The Prayers of the Cosmos by Neil Douglas Klutz. It's also been translated into Spanish. The traditional Hail Mary prayer, which calls upon the energy of the Divine Mother. The 42-letter name of God and the 72 names of God in the Hebrew tradition. There is plenty of literature out there on these two if you want to go deeper into that. Then for the 99 names of God in Arabic, I highly recommend a beautiful book called The Sufi Book of Life, also by Neil Douglas Klotz. It has an explanation and meditations for each one of these divine aspects within ourselves. In the middle of the prayer, there is a scanning of the Zohar, which I also highly recommend having more than anything else. At the beginning and at the end, there are other opening and closing prayers. Every element of this prayer was given to me as a specific instruction. I recommend that before listening to the prayer, you download and print the image of the Merkaba, which you can also find on my website. You can just put a simple altar with the image, a glass of water, and light a candle as you focus your thoughts on the sun, the moon, and the stars. I hope you enjoy.